You've called yourself lazy. You've whispered it as an accusation. You've believed it like a truth carved in stone. But laziness is not the whole story. What looks like laziness is often something else. It is the heaviness you carry but cannot name. Invisible burdens, way more than visible ones, because no one sees them but you. You wake already tired, not from the day ahead but from the weight inside. A weight built from years of pressure. Pressure to be enough. Pressure to never fail. Pressure to smile when you want to cry. None of this is laziness. This is exhaustion. Exhaustion is not the absence of will. Exhaustion is the overflow of demands. You are not broken for struggling. You are carrying too much. Invisible weight comes in many forms. Old grief you never processed. Worry you never stop replaying. Anger swallowed so you wouldn't upset others. Loneliness you keep quiet about. Shame that lingers from years ago. All of it sits inside you. All of it takes energy. No wonder you collapse before you even begin. Laziness is not the right word. The right word is burdened. And burdened people slow down. Slowness is not weakness. Slowness is a body asking for care. But you've been taught to hate slowness. You've been taught to call it lazy. So you turn against yourself. You pile judgment on top of exhaustion. Now the weight doubles. You're tired not only from the invisible load, but from self-blame too. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones. Each stone is a quiet wound. Each stone is an unsaid word. Each stone is an expectation you never asked for. You carry it everywhere. Then someone asks, "Why are you so slow?" You feel shame. You call yourself lazy. Yet you never ask why the stones are there. The stones did not appear overnight. They gathered slowly, year after year, situation after situation, until the backpack grew heavy, and heavy became normal. Forgot you were carrying it. You thought the heaviness was you, but you are not the weight. You are the one carrying the weight, and that is different. To name this truth is to loosen the first stone. To say, "I am not lazy, I am burdened." That sentence cracks the shell of shame. Shame thrives on silence. Speaking truth breaks silence open. The invisible becomes visible. What is visible can be faced. What is faced can be healed. Healing does not happen at once. It happens one stone at a time. You don't have to empty the backpack today. You don't have to empty it alone. You only have to notice the weight. Notice and breathe. Breathe and remember, I am not lazy. I am carrying too much. This awareness is a beginning soft enough to hold you, a beginning simple enough to repeat. Repeat it when judgment rises. Repeat it when exhaustion tells you lies. Repeat it when you collapse again. You are not weak for needing rest. Rest is not laziness. Rest is resistance to a world that demands endless output. Rest is care for a body that has carried too much. Rest is permission to exist without producing. That permission is rare. That permission is sacred. Give it to yourself now. Say softly, "I deserve rest because I am carrying heavy things." Even if no one else sees them. Even if no one else understands. You know your own weight, and you know it is real. What is real deserves compassion. Compassion begins with you. Begin here in this breath. Begin here by letting the word lazy fall away. Once you stop calling yourself lazy, something shifts. The noise of shame quiets. In the silence, you can listen. The weight has a voice. It has been trying to speak for years. But you drowned it out with judgment. That you allow space for its whispers. The whispers say, "I am tired." They say, "I was hurt." They say, "I am still holding what no one else could see." Listening is the first form of care. Care is not fixing right away. Care is presence. To sit beside the heaviness. To acknowledge it without running away. That is the beginning of release. The invisible becomes less frightening when named. Grief, anxiety, shame, fear, each demands energy. Shame each demands energy to carry. But when you listen, the load feels lighter, because you are no longer carrying it in silence. Silence isolates. Connection eases. Connection can begin inside yourself. Speak softly. I hear you, old grief. Speak softly. I see you buried fear. These words honor what you carry. Honor begins the process of release. Because what is honored does not need to fight for attention. Many of your heavy stones are unspoken feelings. Unspoken feelings harden inside the body. They stiffen the shoulders. They weigh down the chest. They make every step harder. When you give them words, they soften. A softened stone is easier to put down. Some stones you will place gently on the ground. Others you will hand to someone you trust. Others will dissolve when finally named. None of this makes you lazy. It makes you human. Humans were not made to carry everything alone, yet you learn to hide the weight. You were told, be strong. You were told, don't complain. You were told other people have it worse, so you swallowed your pain. You smiled when you wanted to cry. You said, I'm fine, when you were not. Each denial added another stone. The load grew heavier in silence. But silence is breaking now. You are listening. Listening means you no longer betray yourself. You choose honesty over performance. Honesty is a kind of freedom. Freedom to admit, I am struggling. Freedom to admit, I need help. These admissions release you from shame. Shame tells you you're lazy. Truth tells you you're burdened. Truth is kinder than shame, and kindness lightens the load. When you treat yourself with kindness, energy slowly returns, not all at once, but drop by drop, like water filling an empty cup. That water is life. Life returns when weight is named. Life grows when weight is shared. Sharing does not always mean speaking to others. Sometimes it means writing in a journal. Sometimes it means drawing your feelings. Sometimes it means moving your body slowly, letting heaviness express itself. Expression is a form of release. Every expression places one stone down. You may not notice right away, but slowly, the backpack grows lighter. You wake with less dread. You move with more ease. You rest without guilt. These are signs of healing. Healing is not a quick path. Healing is a cycle of listening and releasing. You listen to the weight. You release what you can. You rest in between. Then you repeat. Repetition builds trust with yourself. Trust is what shame once stole. Trust tells you, I am doing enough. Trust tells you, I am not lazy. Trust tells you, I am carrying invisible things, and I am learning to set them down. These truths soften the inner critic. With the critic softened, space opens. Space for gentleness, space for breath, space for being. And in that space, you remember who you are beyond the weight. When the weight feels unbearable, you blame yourself. You think, others handle life better. You compare your struggle to their surface, but surfaces hide what you cannot see. No one shows the full weight they carry. Some people hide it behind achievement. Others bury it under constant motion. Others laugh while holding back tears. You are not weaker than them. You are simply noticing your weight. Awareness makes heaviness harder to ignore. But awareness is also the first step to healing. To understand heaviness, you must look at its roots. Some weight comes from the past. Childhood demands that were never met. Words spoken in anger that you still carry. Beliefs planted in you about worth. These roots grow deep and unseen. Other weight comes from the present. The endless to-do lists. The silent expectations. Feeling that you are always behind. Society pushes you to run faster. Faster than your body. Faster than your soul. You collapse not because you lack drive, but because the pace is not human. This collapse looks like laziness from the outside, but inside it is survival. Survival sometimes looks like stillness. Stillness is the body's way of saying stop. Stop before you break. Stop before the weight crushes you. Stop before you forget yourself completely. Stillness is wisdom, not weakness. But the world rarely sees it that way. The world prizes speed and output, so you label your stillness as failure. You label your exhaustion as laziness. These labels deepen the heaviness. Heaviness grows when misunderstood. But heaviness softens when understood. Understanding requires patience. Patience is rare in a world of urgency. Yet patience is medicine for invisible burdens. With patience, you begin to ask, what am I carrying? The question itself opens a door. Behind the door lies memory. A time when you swallowed words instead of speaking them. A time when you worked through tears. A time when you were punished for needing rest. Each time added another stone. Stones may look small alone, but together they form mountains. You're not lazy for slowing under a mountain. Mountains are heavy for everyone. Understanding teaches compassion. Compassion tells you, of course you are tired. Compassion says, it makes sense. This sense-making untangles shame, because shame thrives on confusion. Shame says, you are failing for no reason. Understanding says, you are tired for real reasons. Those reasons matter. They explain the heaviness. They free you from the lie of laziness. Sometimes the weight is not even yours. You carry expectations handed down from others, family hopes, cultural rules, silent obligations, invisible contracts you never signed. These two add stones to your pack. No one calls it weight when they give it. They call it duty. They call it love. They call it tradition. And you carry it without question, till the load becomes unbearable. Understanding asks, which stones belong to me, and which do not? Not all burdens are yours to carry. Some belong back where they came from. Returning them is not betrayal. It is self-respect. Respect for your limits. Respect for your life. Limits are not laziness either. Limits are the shape of being human. Humans are not machines. They need pause, care, space. Machines run endlessly until they break. Humans slow down to survive. What looks like laziness is often survival wisdom. Survival keeps you alive until healing is possible. Healing begins with understanding. Understanding rewrites the story of your struggle. It replaces judgment with clarity. It replaces shame with compassion. Replaces lazy with overloaded. And overloaded can be lightened slowly with care. That care begins now with every truth you allow yourself to see. You cannot carry everything forever. Something must be set down. The question is how? Not with force. Not with punishment. With gentleness. Gentleness is the opposite of how you've spoken to yourself. You've scolded yourself for years. You've called yourself names. You've demanded more than you had to give. That voice has not helped you heal. It has only pressed the weight deeper. Gentleness loosens the grip. Gentleness says, you are tired, and that is okay. Gentleness says, you have done enough for today. Gentleness says, rest is not earned, it is needed. Rest is the first way of putting weight down. It may not look heroic, but rest is resistance to endless demands. Rest is the breath between heavy steps. When you rest, stones grow lighter, not because they vanish, but because your body has space to recover. Recovery makes carrying possible again. And sometimes recovery shows you which stones can be released. Some burdens are simply too old to hold. They are memories replaying without end. To put them down, you name them clearly. You say, this happened and it hurt me. You say, I cannot change the past. You say, I can let myself heal now. Naming is not forgetting. Naming is giving shape to what was hidden. Once it has shape, it can leave your body. Writing is one way. Speaking is another. Moving your body slowly is another. For every expression releases weight. Release may feel small at first, but small releases add up. Over time, stones fall away. Some burdens are not even yours. Expectations handed to you by others. Their voices became your own. You carried them out of love or fear, but they were never yours to keep. To put them down, you remind yourself, I am allowed to live differently. I am allowed to set boundaries. I'm allowed to say no. Each no is the release of a stone. Each boundary protects your strength. Without boundaries, the weight keeps piling up. Boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are survival. Boundaries are respect for your limits. And respect for limits is respect for life. To put down weight is also to allow help. Help does not mean weakness. Help means remembering you were never meant to carry everything alone. Asking for help lightens the invisible load. Even the act of being seen makes it lighter, because what is shared does not crush you the same way. Sometimes help is a trusted friend. Sometimes help is a therapist. Sometimes help is a community. Help has many forms. All forms remind you, you are not lazy. You are human, and humans need others. Putting weight down may feel frightening. You've carried it so long it feels like part of you. Without it, you wonder who you are. But identity built only on endurance is not true identity. You are more than what you carry. You are more than your exhaustion. You're more than your silence. Putting weight down helps you remember. Remember the softness you once had. Remember the curiosity. Remember the joy. These parts of you have been buried, not gone, only hidden. As stones fall, they rise again. The process is slow. You will carry some stones longer than others. You'll stumble as you learn to let go. That is not failure. That is practice. Practice means you are learning. Learning means you are alive. Aliveness is the point, not perfection. So you put weight down piece by piece. You rest without shame. You speak your truth without fear. You draw your boundaries without guilt. You ask for help without apology. And slowly the word lazy loses meaning, because you see yourself clearly now. You see the truth of your burden and your courage, and you honor both by carrying less. Putting weight down is only part of the journey. You also need a life that holds you gently, a life that does not demand endless pushing, a life that makes space for your limits. Limits are not barriers. They are guides. It's guides that protect your energy, guides that remind you what matters. To build such a life, you begin small. Small rhythms that restore instead of drain. A slow morning without rushing. A meal eaten with full attention. Pause to notice your breath. These are not luxuries. They are foundations. Foundations make the rest possible. Without them, you collapse again. With them, you grow steadier. Steadiness makes the weight easier to manage, because you are not carrying on empty. You are carrying with support beneath you. Support begins inside daily choices. Choices that honor your body. Choices that honor your mind. Choices that honor your heart. Honoring is different from striving. Striving says more, faster, better. Honoring says enough, slower, gentler. Gentleness keeps you alive. Life built on gentleness resists collapse. You may still get tired, but tiredness does not become despair, because rest is already built into the structure. Think of life as a container. A container can be harsh and rigid, or it can be soft and supportive. You shape your container through habits. Harsh habits crack the container. Gentle habits hold it together. Begin with one habit at a time. Too many changes at once become more weight. Small steps are lighter. Lightness helps you stay consistent. Consistency builds safety. Safety is what your nervous system longs for. Because years of invisible weight created constant tension, safety unwinds that tension. Safety tells your body, you are allowed to relax. Relaxation is not laziness. Relaxation is medicine. Medicine you must take daily. To build a supportive life, you also need connection. Connection to people who see your effort. People who do not label you lazy. People who understand invisible burdens. If you do not have them yet, seek slowly. Even one person can make a difference. Connection lightens what solitude multiplies. Being seen lifts the unseen. Reminds you that your experience is real. Reality validated feels lighter. This too is part of building a supportive life. A life of truth, not performance. Performance drains. Truth restores. Restoring yourself allows energy to return. Energy changes how you see the world. What felt impossible begins to feel possible again. Not because the world is lighter, but because you are no longer carrying alone. Shared weight feels different in the body. You breathe easier. You walk steadier. You rest without guilt. This becomes your new rhythm. A rhythm where work and rest balance. Where silence and connection balance. Where giving and receiving balance. Balance prevents extremes. Extremes feed burnout. Balance feeds life. Life lived in balance is sustainable. Sustainability matters more than bursts of effort. Anyone can push for a day. Few know how to sustain for a lifetime. Sustainability is built on gentleness, not pressure. Gentleness is not weakness. Gentleness is endurance without collapse. It is strength with softness, strength without cruelty. This is the life you deserve to build, a life that holds you, not one that crushes you. A life where invisible weight is noticed and honored. A life where the word lazy has no place. Because you see the truth now, see the courage it takes to keep moving. You see the resilience in every small choice to care. And you see the beauty of living lighter, day by day. This is not a fantasy. This is the future you are shaping with each step. and each step is enough. You have carried invisible weight for so long, shaped how you saw yourself. It whispered, "You are lazy." But now you know the truth. You were never lazy. You were overwhelmed. Overwhelmed bodies slow down. Overwhelmed hearts go quiet. Overwhelmed minds grow heavy. This was survival, not failure. Survival deserves respect, not shame. Every day you showed up with strength, even on days when showing up meant resting. Resting is also a form of showing up. It is choosing to continue. Continuation matters more than speed. Speed burns you out. Continuation carries you forward. Forward is not always visible. Sometimes forward looks like stillness. Stillness that heals deeper wounds. Stillness that makes space for recovery. Stillness that lets your weight shift. This weight does not vanish overnight, but it can soften. It can be shared. It can be carried differently. When it is carried differently, life feels different. Life opens in quiet ways. Quiet mornings without dread. Quiet evenings without guilt. Quiet days where you breathe with ease. This is the gift of releasing shame. Shame was the heaviest layer. Heavier than deadlines, heavier than failures, heavier than expectations. Shame told you you were wrong for being tired. Shame told you your weight was weakness. But shame lied. Your tiredness was wisdom. Wisdom saying, slow down. Wisdom saying, listen. Wisdom saying, you cannot keep carrying like this. Listening to that wisdom is healing. Healing begins when you stop fighting yourself. Stop calling yourself lazy. Stop treating yourself as broken. Start honoring the hidden strength in survival. Strength that kept you alive through weight unseen. That strength is still here. It has never left. Now it can serve a new purpose. Not only survival, but building a life that feels worth living. It's a life lighter, kinder, freer. You deserve such a life. Not as a reward, but as a basic truth. Worth is not earned through output. Worth is inherent in being alive. Alive with weight, alive with scars, alive with exhaustion, alive with hope. Hope survives even in numbness. Hope waits patiently in silence. Hope breathes when you think you cannot. And hope grows when shame is released. Without shame, hope expands. It fills your chest. It softens your body. It opens your eyes. Suddenly you see possibilities again. Small ones first. A short walk. A gentle smile. A moment of rest without guilt. These are seeds of hope. Seeds grow slowly, but steadily. You do not need to rush them. You only need to tend them. Tending means patience. Tending means care. Tending means noticing progress, even when small. Small progress builds trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in life. Trust that you are not defined by weight alone. You're defined by how you keep walking. Walking slowly. Walking gently. Walking forward without shame. This is your path now. A path where invisible burdens are named. A path where kindness replaces accusation. A path where rest belongs. A path where you are never lazy. It's only human, carrying and learning to set down. This is quiet philosophy, where thinking isn't loud, and life doesn't need to be either. Subscribe if you haven't already, not for noise, but for something you can actually feel.